Hello and welcome. It's the middle of the week, so we're checking in. And I was doing some reminiscing recently, thinking back over the last number of months, in particular the beginning of this year, 2020. And those of us who were in attendance in the building of Westview Baptist Church back in January will remember that we walked in one Sunday and things looked very different. The chairs, which we were used to having arranged in a certain way, were suddenly turned inward. And instead of all rows facing forward, we had two sections all facing inward. And it was a different look, and it received different responses. Some people were quite intrigued, some were excited, some were not happy, some were skeptical. But we ran with it, and for 2 months we worshiped in that kind of an environment. And we did it for a reason. I won't go into that now, but it helped set the scene for what we were talking about in our worship services at the time. What stands out for me is that back in January, I was feeling nervous about making such a big change in the sanctuary. It seemed like it was monumental. It seemed like it was going to be really dicey emotionally for a lot of people. And of course, we survived that. I think it, in its own way, was helpful in some of what we did. And then a month later, we stopped meeting together in worship. We didn't stop worshiping, but we didn't meet together in the building. And suddenly everything got put into a whole different perspective. My concern back in January that, boy, this might not be received well, really paled in comparison to situations that we were forced into for the sake of protecting each other's health. Suddenly, the idea of moving the chairs seems really small, and it should have seemed small at the time. And it reminds me of my own tendency, and I think the tendency in all of us, to make a big deal out of little things. We can fixate on small matters because we've forgotten about the big matters. In the book of Hebrews, chapter 3, right at the beginning, the writer is talking to his audience about the sufferings that they're going through. But in the midst of that, he reminds them that Jesus Christ has been through everything that we've been through. And then he says this in chapter 3, verse 1, "Therefore, holy brothers and sisters who share in the heavenly calling, fix your thoughts on Jesus, whom we acknowledge as our apostle and high priest." What are we fixated on? We can fixate on small matters that irk us, that inconvenience us, that are unfamiliar to us. But in our faith, if you're a follower of Jesus Christ, those things pale in comparison to the person of Jesus Christ, who we fix our eyes on. And we fix our eyes on him so that all these other things fall into perspective. They really are small matters. When we have the chance as a people to steer people towards Jesus, to tell them about his mercy, to live out to them his love that we have experienced, that's what matters. We fix our thoughts, we fix our eyes on Jesus Christ. I hope that we can look back at this last year and gain some perspective. I know the year's not over. I know that we are meeting together again, some of us aren't. That doesn't matter. But what does matter is that collectively we are fixing our eyes, fixing our thoughts on Jesus Christ. He is the center of our faith. He is our apostle. He is our high priest, the one that we turn to for salvation, but also for guidance for living life today and finding hope for each new day. God bless you. And remember, this life in Jesus Christ is worth it.